My intro right into it, man. Welcome to another episode of Live Nation Urban Presents Meet the Founders. I'm your host, Brandon Pankey, and today I have probably one of the most that we've ever had, CEO and founder of Human Resources, distribution, label, just one of the great independent companies right now in music. J Erving.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We wanted to wait until the fourth quarter to have
No,
you.
I put y'all under pressure. I told you if you had one more founder on there and didn't have me on there, it's gonna be a problem.
Fourth quarter, we had the Mike Jordan. You were the first fourth quarter, so we appreciate you being here, man.
No, thank you.
No doubt. So one, we always ask, talk about your history. The founder and CEO of Human Resources. Where'd you get your start? Walk us through that.
Shit, I mean, you were there for a lot of it, right? I think it was Philly. It was Black Lily. It was kind of the music scene and what was happening there. When I got out of when I dropped out of school, actually, I used the money from my last semester of college to at Temple to start my company. And I wouldn't advise that necessarily to young people that are in the game, but for me it was, I kind of knew what I didn't want to do, which was what I quite frankly couldn't do, which is the more traditional route. Like I couldn't do a regular 9 to 5 type job, and and I needed something that would give me the opportunity to be entrepreneurial. And I always loved music. And I had a friend who said, who was at Universal Records at the time, and he was like, if you get into management, you'll deal with every aspect of the music business. Mm-hmm. So that's a good way to learn where you want to be, right? Because as a manager, you're dealing with making records, marketing records. You're, some days you're a therapist, some days you're dad, some days you're mom, some days you're, homies, and that was a way for me to figure out where I wanted to be. And got blessed in early to get involved with some great artists early, and then partnered with Troy Carter, who's another Philly guy. And management is primarily what I did for almost 20 years, and recently have transitioned into distribution.
Gotcha. Yes, you used the word earlier, and what does it mean to be an entrepreneur? There's so many people that want, I'm an entrepreneur. What does that mean to you?
To me, it's a mindset, right? Like I think that it takes a very special kind of person to be an entrepreneur. I don't think that I don't think everybody's born as an entrepreneur. I think I have that entrepreneurial gene, but I also, just like I said, it's just certain shit I couldn't do. Like, I envy some of my friends that took a more traditional route, right? Because they've had nights and weekends and holidays and downtime and, the comforts of knowing that a check's coming every couple of weeks and all of that. To be an entrepreneur, first of all, you get out what you put into it. And, it's not, when you clock in at a traditional job, you're making, $20 an hour or whatever it is. And you did 40 hours this week. So that's what you're going to get, but as an entrepreneur, you could spend, you could work 20 hours a day for a long time without seeing, any financial, kind of, benefit. So it takes a unique person. It takes, thick skin. It takes, you got to have the ability to swallow hard sometimes and kind of fake it till you make it. And, I've sat in meetings with, that could potentially change my life, and had to try to figure out how to keep my game face on and not feel like I was, it's that, desperate to either sign an artist or, an opportunity to partner, or, several things in meetings over the years that you got to be able to stomach being an entrepreneur.
No, for sure. So you said you started out in music. What made you want to even start distribution?
It was I mean, artists are fucking crazy, man. You know, it's like, you know, and managing artists is a tough proposition. And, you know, it's and unfortunately, there's times in which, you know, you work really hard with clients and you're not able to stay with them, right? You know, when I look at um it's very rare, you know, when you know, Sean, you know, with Sean and you guys and what you've worked on, like the relationship with the Roots and relationship with Jill, and you know, just kind of how committed they've been to one another for as long as they have. Like those types, you know, those types of relationships don't happen very often. You know, my relationship with Marsha is like she's my sister for real, and like in real life. So, but those are anomalies, and you know, it's so I kind of got burnt out of management, and I felt like there was an opportunity for disruption in distribution because, you know, I feel like as a manager, I used a lot of the distribution companies and they all felt very transactional. Whereas like, we'll take your music and we'll put it on these streaming platforms, but you got to figure out the rest. And, you know, I wanted to create a company that would provide, you know, what labels call label services, but do deals that look like distribution deals where we're not taking ownership of masters, we're not participating in, you know, your touring and your merch and all of those other things that labels look for, and we're also not doing a deal that you're going to be in for the next, you know, 20 years of your life.
Right.
So you know, our deals are super, you know, are non-traditional, and all of these distribution companies have taken like the volume approach, right? Where the more artists we can kind of funnel through this conveyor belt, you know, the better. And for us, we've been very particular about the artists that we've signed. We've had a really, you know, solid A&R process where we're only doing shit that we love. If we don't love it and we can't be committed to it fully,
Right.
we're not gonna do it. So we took a very different approach, and I felt like I had the opportunity to be disruptive, and at a time in which there wasn't a ton of people out there doing it, right? I think now it's become, you know, more popularized, and there's a lot more people jumping in thinking it's easy. But I got the benefit of, you know, a few years head start in learning the landscape, because I had to learn a lot, you know, to be honest with you. Like, you know, when I started, when I went out with this, just by default in some of my early meetings, like I was calling it a label because that's all I've known it to be called. Is like, so, and I would say label, and you know, these artists would look at me like I had 10 heads. Like, nah, I mean, I'm looking for a distribution deal. So I had to, like, even verbiage and knowing what new artists are looking for, how consumption is happening, right? I have, you know, 3 kids that are my case studies. Like, they're not fucking turning on Power 99 and seeing, you know, the come up show to hear the, you know, whatever the new artist is. Like, they're on Instagram, they're on Snapchat, they're on YouTube, they're discovering in different ways. So marketing to them is different, you know, and understanding them and how they want to be talked to is different. And that takes us being willing to listen and you know, and really do things non-traditionally. So there's some shit where I've been like, for real? Like, that's, you know, and or that artist is hot, like, really, y'all like this shit? And it's like, but I had to listen to the young people around me and support the young, you know, executives that are a part of our team.
Absolutely. And why did you choose that non-traditional? Why is it that you don't, or that's what's been done, whether it's right or wrong conversation?
Because, you know, a lot of what Black executives are fighting for now, you know, our crew, we felt like that before, you know, already. Like, the shit didn't start with George Floyd for me and you and Sean and Troy and our squad. It didn't start with us, you know, 2 months ago. You know, the need and want for fair deals and ownership, that conversation didn't start with us recently. You know, we've been on that shit, and you know, for me, it was creating a platform that was in line with who we are, the type of business that we do, so I didn't even, it wasn't like I overthought it and was like, I gotta, I want to do that, and that's what's going to make me different. I built a company that is representative of me and my homies and how we do business and what's fair and what's right for artists. Like, I some of the panels that I've seen that have been around, social, the racial divide in the music business and the unfair deal for artists, and it's like, the reality is there's options out there now that are black owned, that are, that have, that will do fair deals, that, all of the things that you're looking for. And now it's like, we got to advocate for those options. We really got to buy into those options. Like, people are talking the talk. It's like, now let's walk the walk now, like, you can be independent, you can be, you can have fair deals, you can, and at the same time get the services that labels, say that they, provide. Let's walk the walk now.
For sure, but how do people actually, you know what I mean? Where you're in the majors, you may hear about the DSP, digital service provider by Apple, Tidal, but you don't know about or other.
It's funny you say that. I had one of my assistant, not one of my assistant, when I first launched Human Resources, was like, why are you? There's only so many meetings you can do, in a day, and like, why do you feel like you have to meet with all of these people? And I'm like, that's how I'm going to get the word out. That's how I'm educating the community about what I'm doing. It's like, it's one person at a time, and because I've never been. I don't do this very often, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it doesn't feel comfortable to me. Like, today I'm talking to my homie, that a conversation I would have anyway, conversations that we've had before. Like, it doesn't feel unnatural. It sometimes feels unnatural to me to do press and to talk to, do some of this shit, because it just, and that's been a hurdle that I've had to try to, overcome, which is, playing the game, because, it's just not something that I've done and felt motivated to do. But now I feel more inclined to let. I feel, we have to be intentional about educating our, young artists, young black artists, young executives, young black executives about, options, what's out there, what's available to them, and how we can do things differently. I feel like I have to be intentional about it now, and can't just sit in the comforts of my friend group, and kind of getting outside of that a lot. Like, I have a son who's in the music business. I have a daughter who is wanting to get into the music business as much as I don't want her to be in it. So I got to think about, now I'm thinking about how I would want someone to help, educate my child, and so, the stakes are higher, and I just feel like with everything that we've been doing, is like, it's time for me personally to take more of an intentional kind of role and position on helping, educate folks and doing things the way that they should be done.
Speaking on that, the educating young black executives, just for those that help them understand, use the verbiage. What's the difference between versus position?
The difference between distribution and what was the other?
Just like a traditional label deal.
So it's the terms of the deal, right? So for our deals, if you're going to do a major label deal right now, they're going to look for 4 or 5 albums, 4 or 5 album commitment. They're going to want to participate in 360, which means, when you sell a concert ticket, they're going to want a piece of that. When you sell a merch, they're going to want a piece of that. When you do a brand deal, they're going to want a piece of that. They're going to want to own your masters. So, the music that you create during the term of during this 5 album span, the ownership of that music would live with that record company. For us, we're not taking ownership of your masters, so you own your masters. We're not participating in your touring or your merch or anything like that. We take a distribution fee for a term, and we also, but simultaneously, what you get when you sign with a major label is, and we've all seen the clips online when you got the rapper standing on a table and there's 50 people sitting around, this big conference room table, and everybody saying what they do, and I'm the head of this, and I do this, and so you kind of, with us, our conference table is much smaller than that. Our boots on the ground in markets outside of the U.S. is, aside from the UK, is non-existent. So we have to take a very different kind of calculated approach where, I feel like you can touch the world now through the internet and through digital marketing. So when we were coming up in the game, you had to be, if you wanted your shit to work in the UK, you had to get on a plane, fly over there, do promo, introduce yourself to the market. You can do that now without ever, touching foot on, on UK soil. I happened to be in London the first time Pop Smoke had ever been in the UK, and he came out on there's a UK rapper named Skepta, who's massive over there, and Pop Smoke came out on his set, and as soon as they put the record on, the crowd went nuts, crazy, like every word to the song. It just was like, this is thousands of kids, screaming every word to every song, and it's like one of those indicators and reminders, like digital marketing is powerful, and you can touch markets outside of the US through digital marketing. Because our team's smaller, we got to work harder, we got to work smarter. We have to, because we don't have the same budgets that major labels have, we have to allocate funds in a very calculated and different way. So we got to be smart, and that's where listening is important, because a lot of these young artists that we're working with, they are their demographic, right? They're, we signed this kid Pink Sweats from Philly, early 20s, singer songwriter, and he is his demographic, right? Like, he knows where and how he wants to discover music, and how he likes to see things, and it's listening. So where we have the ability to not be antiquated in our approach, because I don't have to go run something up the flagpole when we want to do something. I can move quickly and get it done, and we just got to be non-traditional and do shit in a different way.
Sure. So let me ask you started. I'm a executive. I want to start. I have the idea, to really non-traditional industry. How do you steps to actually creating an independent company like that?
I mean, it starts with I had the benefit of 20 plus years of relationships, right, as a manager, and that doesn't come easy. It's just that it's 20 plus years of blood, sweat, and tears, and building solid relationships. I had the benefit of, one of my best friends and, also business partners of 100 years that was working at Spotify, at the time. I think in any aspect of music, on my side and where we sit, and even for you guys at Live Nation Urban, it starts with the music, right? It starts with the artist. And I could have all of these relationships. I could have this idea of this company that I want to build. If I can't identify, find, and sign talent, then that's the part that intangible is never going to change. And you can't, no matter what you have, whether it's working at a major label or doing something independently, it's all going to start with the music and being able to sign acts.
I'm going to end with this selfish question. When I see you, see Troy Carr, see Ryan Press, like G, Philly, what does it mean? What does that look like? You know, because I'm looking at Philly, and not only coming go on tours, a lot of the music are from Philly area. Why do you think Philly has been such a city in this industry?
You know what it is? It's like, it's funny because I had a conversation with an executive about social media, right? And you know, his thing with me was like, why aren't you on social media? You should be leveraging social media to you know, to build and let people know the stuff that you're working on and this, that, and the third. And you know, you're friends with Troy and you're friends with Sean and you know, you're friends with these guys. Like, how come you guys aren't on social media together? And I'm like, those are my real fucking friends, right? Like, Sean's kids call me uncle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I call, like, those are my nephew and nieces. Like, same with Troy, and like we're really friends and family for real. Like, in real life, like, I would feel nuts holding up a camera and saying, "Yo, Sean, come take this selfie with me." Like, that would feel crazy to me. And I think that the fact that, you know, I can pick up the phone and call you anytime and ask you for anything and you're going to show up for me. That's a different kind of, because we come from the same place, that's a different kind of love and appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I need something from Brandon, I know he's going to pick up the phone and he's going to do it for me. If I need something from Sean or Sterling or Ryan or Troy, you know, it's a genuine love and respect and appreciation for each other. And I think that you know, we are a small town, you know, and we get that, you know, so it's kind of like we feel like we got to stick together to, you know, to go and, you know, for a long time, it was us kind of feeling like we were in competition with New York and, you know, like we had to stick together in order to, you know, so many of them. And it was the opportunity was so vast and, you know, it felt like we had to stick together. But like, you got genuine, thorough people that were built out of Philly. And I feel like that's the difference. You know, our crew is solid, like just solid guys, you know what I'm saying? Like that really care about each other and deal with each other on a level that's beyond work or music, or it's on a human level, you know? And it's 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 rare, you know, and it's special, and I thank God for it every day, because you know, we all support each other. And there's been times where I've been down and those guys have picked me up, you know, and more times than not, you know, or my mouth has gotten me in trouble, or you know, like, there's been more times than not, those guys are picking me up and saving me and pulling my coat strings, or telling me, you know, Jay, the biggest thing that we have amongst our group is accountability. You know, we hold each other accountable, and that shit's important, you know, and this, again, I'm super thankful for it. But it could be anything from, you know, the pants you got on look fucking crazy, to, you know, you went too hard on this person, or I need you to push a little bit more here, or here's an idea for your business that can help you grow it. Like, you know, we actually do that shit with each other, you know, and in a real way. And there's no egos. There's no, you know, nobody's better than the other person. We've all had our successes in different ways. We're all good at different things. But the fact of the matter is, we support each other and we fuck with each other. And I feel like that's what makes a difference from with our Philly crew, you know. And that's why it was important for me to do this, and why I reached out to you about it, is like, people need to know.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, your family. Sean is my family. Like, anything he's doing, I'm doing it. Anything I'm doing, he's doing. I'm supporting it. Anything Brandon Panky's doing, I'm supporting it. I'm with, like, I feel like it's my shit. When I show up to Roots Picnic or whatever, I feel like it's mine. You know what I'm saying? As much as, like, anything that y'all are doing, you know? And so I just think it's genuine and it's real, and the love and the respect it comes from a very, very genuine and real place. So we're lucky to have each other.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, look, artists you want to shout out, any upcoming releases, anything you want to see, resources before we go?
I just want people to know that human resources and Live Nation Urban rock with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like if it wasn't for, Live Nation putting YBN Namir on G-Eazy's tour, or putting Baby Rose on Roots Picnic, or Pink Sweats on Roots Picnic and others, like that's what I want to shout out. Is like when we support each other, we are able to do dope shit together. Um, so that's it for me.
Cool. Well, let me say this, Jay. Just thankful that you are a mentor. You know what I mean? Appreciate you doing this.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
No doubt. It's been another episode of Live Nation Urban Founders. Thanks again, and we'll be. Thanks, Jay.
All right, bro.